Hey everybody, thanks for watching our Appalachian Trail video number 14. In this video we go from Fox Creek to Bland, Virginia. Over this 79-mile stretch, we order pizza from a shelter, have our 7th bear encounter, and finally see a rattlesnake on the trail. After saying goodbye to some of the kids, we hopped back on the trail at Fox Creek and headed north. First day was about 7 miles. We made it to a small campsite where we ran into this furry hiker heading north also. While we were at camp that night, we heard rumors of a shelter where you could order pizza and they would actually deliver to the shelter. So of course, the next day, we hiked 15 miles all the way to the partnership shelter so we could order some pizza. The shelter was located at the Mount Rogers National Recreation Headquarters, and because of its location, it was not your normal shelter. They actually had showers located in the shelter. However, when we were there was no hot water. There's also a bus stop at the headquarters that runs Monday through Saturday, which will take you anywhere you want to go in the town of Marion. So after staying one night there, we caught the bus the next morning into town. We stayed for a couple days before heading back on the trail. After a couple relaxing days in Marion and resupplying, we're back on the trail.
That's a little scary. You go first.
Oh, that's pretty. Oh, good. And we go right under it, too. Huh? Yeah. Alright. Did you survive?
I've been under like 3 or 4 of those now. We've never heard one do that.
No. Well, we survived. After the scary power lines, we came to a museum with an old schoolhouse. And inside the schoolhouse, there was some trail magic with some Gatorade and some snacks, which was much appreciated. Oh, nobody's coming. The shelter we had planned on staying at that night was pretty full, so we kept pressing on, and we found a little motel after about 12 miles and stayed there. We stopped at the gas station next door the next morning, and despite the good price on apes, we just got some donuts and then pressed on. The next leg of the trail became a little bit tougher, not so much because of the terrain, but because all the water sources started to dry up. So we had to be careful where we camped and when we got water. So we hiked 7 miles and camped at Reed Creek. And that was, of course, after passing the quarter-way mark of the trail. But we weren't the only ones that stopped at the creek to get water.
I'm gonna go tell the button.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye out.
I wouldn't be out here on my own. It was still need to go see. I was like, okay, I'll go back and check it out. I was like running back to camp. It's so cool.
Leave us a comment below if you know what kind of rattlesnake this is. We eventually let this guy just wander off and went and made camp not too far away. When you make camp on the trail, you never know who's going to camp next to you. In our case, we had a couple singers from Queen. But those guys weren't the only ones that camped nearby. This whippoorwill had to be on a tree right above us. At some points during the night, there was more than one of them making that noise. It was a long night. The next day, though, we got up and hiked about 7.5 miles till we got near the Knott Mall branch shelter and made camp for the night. The next day, the water sources weren't any better. Creek after creek was just dry. finally came to a pond that had a spring on it. So we filled up all our water bottles in our 4-liter bag and carried it the next 2 miles to camp. We camped next to the Chestnut Knob shelter, which had a beautiful view of the town of Tazewell. We left out in the fog the next morning and hiked quite a while before we came to any water, and this water was in the form of water jugs left by trail angels. While hiking the 11 miles from the Chestnut Knob shelter to the Jenkins shelter, we had our 7th bear encounter. I wasn't able to get it on the video because it had started raining. We put our phones up, and it happened so quick we wouldn't have been able to get our phones out anyways. But what happened was we were walking down the trail, and all of a sudden we hear a loud noise to our right. We look over and see a young fawn that still has its spots running straight towards us. It jumps on the trail just a few feet in front of us and takes off down the trail. We hear a commotion over to the right, and Micah sees the bear that the fawn was running from. She points at the bear and tells him no, and so he screeches to a halt and runs off the other way. And that's the story of how Micah saved a baby deer. Sounds like a storm coming. But the fawn and the bear weren't the only excitement we had for the day. Just going to get your bear hang. After camping the night at the Jenkins shelter, we hiked another 12 miles to the intersection with US 52 near the Brushy Mountain Outpost, where we caught a shuttle ride into the town of Wytheville to stay a couple days, resupply, and rest up. Thanks everybody for watching the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel so you'll get all the updates on our journey to Maine.